Your blessings upon them. Bless this night in Jesus' name.
This is the fourth and final week of our series, Made. The past few weeks we've been talking about what, guys? Sex, yeah. If you didn't know that, that's what we've been talking about. Not just on Wednesday nights, but on Sunday mornings too, in groups. And so you guys have been getting a double dose of it. I might tell you how important this topic is. That's why I've been talking about this series. We've said that people are made to be valuable, not objectified. That was our bottom line from week 1. Week 2, we've said that sex was made to matter. And last week, our bottom line was that we were made to be the boss of our bodies. So yeah, we've covered a lot in the past month. Now this week, we have one more made idea to talk about. And it's this. You were made for more than sex. Let me explain. What we believe about sex is based on the messages that we've heard in our culture, and that can be on TV, movies, music, commercials. It may be from your friends, from your family members, and yeah, even from church. However, what if I told you that some of these messages aren't even true? Here are some examples of sexual messages you're hearing from our culture that aren't true. You could call them fake news. Maybe it was this one. Maybe your friends told you that if you had sex with your boyfriend, that would guarantee your future together. That sex would make sure you wouldn't break up. And maybe if your relationship was kind of on the rocks and you were struggling, sex maybe could just make everything better. Or maybe you've heard that if you have sex, it will keep the other person from cheating on you. On the other hand, if you refuse to have sex with them, they might break up with you or cheat on you with someone else. Maybe movies and TV shows have taught you that sex is just how you communicate that you care about someone. If you love somebody or have strong feelings for them, this is just how you show it. Maybe you've heard that sex makes you a real man or woman, and you just want to get the first time out of the way so it's just not a big deal anymore. Or maybe you believe that if someone wants to have sex with you and you agree, you'll feel valued, feel better about yourself. Maybe you feel insecure about the way you look, your appearance, your social status, or your relationship status. And you feel like sex will take some of these unwanted feelings away from you. On the flip side, maybe you've heard that if you wait until marriage to have sex, then everything will be perfect. Your marriage will be perfect. Your marriage sex life will be perfect. Like your favorite romantic movie. Or maybe you've heard that sex is the reason you get married. Maybe you decided to wait, but when it becomes too difficult, someone might just say to you, hey, best thing for you to do is just stop burning with lust, just get married quickly, and that will solve all your problems. Terrible advice, by the way. You've probably heard that sex is only for marriage. Spoiler alert. Yeah, that's what we believe here at FiveStone. But sometimes people also think that means that everything but actual sex before marriage is fine. Then actual sex, we use that term, we mean going all the way. So as long as you don't go all the way with someone, it's fine, right? Some Christians believe. Or maybe you've heard that obsessing about sex, if you don't have sex, is totally fine and healthy and normal. Maybe you've heard that if you've had sex before marriage, it's hopeless. You've messed it all up. There's no hope. Maybe you've heard that following all the rules before marriage equals no rules after the wedding night. So that's what a lot of Christians believe. It's a fallacy that they believe that as long as they save themselves for their spouse, their husband or wife, that if they make it to their wedding night, that's the finish line when it comes to purity and sexual integrity, and then it doesn't really matter anymore. But there are countless Christian husbands and wives across America who did save themselves sexually for each other, but they thought that the wedding night was the finish line and that they didn't have to worry about sexual integrity anymore. And many of those people are sadly divorced today because they got into all kinds of sexual sins because they just kind of gave up. They're like, we're done. We made it to the wedding night. It's all good now. And many of them are divorced today. See, sexual integrity doesn't end on your wedding night. It's something you practice for the rest of your life, even when you're married. Wow. All right. So covering all those, my point is this. You're getting a lot of conflicting messages about sex. And a lot of them aren't true, even if the people who tell you mean well. And a lot of these untrue messages all boil down to one big idea that our culture is selling you as a teenager, and it's this. Sex is everything. And the problem is thinking that way and believing all of those myths, those fake news that I just talked about, is that when you believe those, it turns sex into something that it was never made or never designed to be. And what is that? It's this. A God. Maybe you're sitting here like, well, that seems really dramatic, Pastor. Wow. A little overreaction here, but here's what I mean. When we make anything more than it was made or created to be, when we elevate something beyond its intended value, we are making it an idol. We are making it a god. We're giving it more power than it was made or designed to have. Like when you have a boyfriend or girlfriend, you think that they'll make you feel more valuable, or having a new car will make you feel like a more important person, or how you look will determine how important you are as a human. Now, there's nothing wrong with a boyfriend or girlfriend or a car or caring about your appearance. At the same time, those things shouldn't determine your worth, value, or significance. And neither should sex. Just to be clear, sex is important. And sex does have its place. Sex is a lot of things, but it's not the most important thing about a relationship or someone's life or even a Christian couple's marriage. God has bigger plans for you than sex. There's more to you and more to life than that. To illustrate this point, I want to tell you about a family who lived thousands of years ago. Hey, I get it. You might be thinking in your mind, how relevant is a family that lived thousands of years ago to me trying to figure out and understand my sex life in 2019? But try to think about it this way. Sex isn't new. For as long as there have been people, there has been sex, and all the complications that are part of it today. And that was especially true for this family we're about to talk about. The story is found in the first book of the Bible, Genesis, one of my favorite books in the Bible. And it revolves around a man named Jacob. Now, Jacob was an early ancestor of Jesus. And to help me tell the story, I've brought with me to the FiveStone Students stage a piece of high-tech teaching equipment. And it's this. It's known as a flannel graph. Now, raise your hand if you've ever seen in church a flannel graph. 1, 2. They're all leaders. Anybody beside a leader? Okay, we got one student here. Okay, a couple students have seen it. All right. For the rest of you, you're like, what on earth has Pastor Adam dug out for this? This isn't even actually from our closet. This is actually from a different church, a friend of mine's church up in Frisco, because I couldn't find one at any of the churches down here in this area. We don't have one here at this church. Now, this is something, a flannel graph was designed probably in the 1950s. I actually remember from my childhood being in an old Sunday school class in Wisconsin and seeing a Sunday school teacher bust this out. But they've been around forever. My mom, when she was growing up in the 50s, actually remembers this at her church. And so they've been around forever, and they were a way to help communicate Bible stories to kids. Because obviously kids 50, 60, 70 years ago were visual, just like kids today. You guys today are visual learners, so it helps to make the story stick if you have an image. It's not just in your mind, but you can actually see it play out. And Ben and I were talking during our leader meeting today, and when we were kids, we thought these were the coolest things ever. We thought they were magic. Because what they do is you can change the scenery here. So we got a tent here, we got some sheep here in the desert scene right here, and then we've got our characters. And they magically stick without glue. It's amazing. I actually got a box from my friend's church of the entire Bible. It's got like almost every Bible story in felt. It's incredible. It's an amazing thing. So I'm glad I can introduce you guys to this amazing piece of communication technology. So now you guys know what flannel graph is. It's going to blow your mind. It's going to blow your mind. You might not remember a word I say tonight. I guarantee you for the rest of your life, you will remember seeing the flannel graph. All right. So I thought this story that we're going to talk about this really dramatic family, there's a lot of characters involved, and it gets kind of confusing, so I thought this would be a great time. First time in 15 years of youth ministry that I've used a flannel graph as a sermon prop, but it might be the last, but here I can say, check that one off my list. Now I've done it. All right, so we brought this on stage to help you guys understand the story. All right, so as we pick up the story, Jacob had experienced some crazy family drama. In the chapters preceding the one we're going to look at, man, this guy has been through it all. He had a crazy, crazy life. And so there he is, there's Jacob. Now he was sent by his father. Anybody know who Jacob's father is? If you grew up in church, you might know this. Anybody know? He's one of the patriarchs of the Jewish faith. Anybody know? Isaac was his father. Does anybody know what his mother's name was? Rebecca, good job. Isaac and Rebecca were his parents, right? And so, Isaac and Rebecca, because there was a lot of drama going on in their family, where they sent Jacob, their son, to a different place to live with Rebecca's brother. Does anybody know what Rebecca's brother's name was?
Yeah.
What was it? Laban, close. Laban, I think I heard something like it. Laban, right, so there's Jacob's Uncle Laban. There he is. All right, they're having a nice conversation here in the desert. You guys are seeing the magic of the flannel graph starting to work here. It's blowing some of your minds. So there's the first two characters, Jacob and Uncle Laban. But as we'll see, Jacob hadn't seen real crazy yet. He had a pretty crazy life at this point. But the drama level is about to go off the charts for poor Jacob. Our story begins here. Now Laban, you can follow on the screen. Now Laban had two daughters. The older daughter was named Leah. There's Leah, right there. She's the older daughter. There she is, okay. She's in the red dress. And the younger one was Rachel. Now there's Rachel in the green dress. All right, there they are behind Dad. Laban, right, there they are. There's all of our characters. You guys remember this now? Got them all? Okay, so this is who? Jacob. This is Uncle Laban. This is don't get confused. This is why we have several people. Rachel, the younger daughter, and this is Leah, the older daughter. All right, got it. Here we go. All right. So the older daughter was named Leah, and the younger one was Rachel. Since Jacob was in love with Rachel, so Jacob loves the younger daughter, Rachel, in green right there. Remember, that's key for the rest of the story. He told her father, I'll work for you for 7 years if you'll give me Rachel, your younger daughter, as my wife. Now, to our modern American 21st century sensibilities, that sounds kind of weird. The dad is like selling his daughter or something. What's that? In that culture, the dads actually owned their daughters until they were married. So Laban was actually in a legal standing to actually kind of barter over the future of his daughters. And he actually accepted this proposition that Jacob was making. He's like, hey, I love your daughter. Can I marry her in 7 years for working for you? And Laban's like, yeah, it's a good deal. Yeah, we'll do that. So he did agree to it. So Jacob did exactly as he promised and worked for 7 years for Laban. Girls, this might be great dating advice for you. That if a guy asks you out, you can ask them if they're willing to work for your dad without any payment for 7 years before you go on a date with them. All right? This is a little free advice for you guys there. Now, once Jacob finished those 7 years, okay, that was my time machine there. 7 years in the future. Dad, got it? All right. We're 7 years in the future now. The 7 years are over quick. The Bible tells us they went really fast for Jacob because he was so in love with Rachel. Didn't seem like anything. Boom, 7 years. Boom. He's ready to marry Rachel finally. All right. So what happens? So once Jacob finishes 7 years, he finally gets his dream to marry Rachel. JK. Not really. So what happens? Here we go. Pick it up. So Laban invited everyone in the neighborhood and prepared a wedding feast. A wedding feast between who? Jacob and... You guys tracking with the story? I know it's confusing. Rachel, right. Remember that. Jacob and Rachel. Wedding feast, right? But that night, the wedding night, when it was dark, that part's key. Remember that one. It was dark in Jacob's tent. It's dark in there. They don't have modern electrical lights in the tent in the desert, right? When it was dark, check this out. Laban took Leah to Jacob. Wait, what? No, that's got to be misprint. Jacob took Leah to Jacob. Who was the wedding supposed to be between? Jacob and who? Wait, what in the world? What is Laban pulling here? He took Leah to Jacob and he slept with her. So Jacob sleeps with the wrong woman. What? But when Jacob woke up in the morning, he could actually see who was laying there. It wasn't Rachel, who he thought it was. It was the older sister, Leah. Yikes. Worst prank ever. And so, poor Jacob finds himself married not to Rachel, the woman he loves, but to the wrong sister, Leah. They're married. It's over. It's legal. Okay, now we're moving to some reality TV level of drama. Now, if culture was so violent back then, which it was, you would think that maybe Jacob was ready to murder his uncle. You know, slit his throat in his sleep or something to get back at him. How could you do this to me? But he doesn't do that. So what does he do? Well, he goes and confronts him. He says this. Go to the next one. There we go. What have you done to me? Jacob raged at Laban. See, he's raging right there. I worked 7 years for Rachel. Why have you tricked me? So, sorry. So why have you tricked me? So Laban goes on to answer by saying this. Well, it's not our custom here to marry off a younger daughter ahead of the firstborn. But wait until the bridal week with Leah is over, and then we'll give you Rachel too. Provided you promise to work another 7 years for me. How many years is that total? 7 and 7, 14 years. Wow. Yeah. Now, if this is me, I'm probably going to respond with, it's not our custom to do that. That information would have been helpful 7 years ago when we were putting together my premarital contract to marry Rachel. You didn't think to bring that up then? Now you're telling me about this? But somehow Jacob agrees to these new terms. All right? So we're going to take a pause here to kind of recap what happened. And so Jacob is pranked into marrying the wrong sister, Leah, the older sister, right? All right? And he still wants to marry the younger one, though, Rachel. He still wants to marry her. So he agrees to work another 7 years so that he can marry Rachel, who he's always loved. You can't make this stuff up, people. It really happened. So Jacob marries Rachel, then continued working for Laban. Except now, there's a new problem. And it's not just that Jacob is married to 2 different women who, happen to be sisters. Just think about that one for a second. No, that's not even the end of the drama. And so there they are. That's the great threesome here. That's a great family starting right there, those 3 people. So that's where they are. There's a new problem though, and it's not just that he's married to sisters. We pick it up in chapter 30, verse 1. Check it out. When Rachel saw, so now this is a couple years in the future again. 2 years in the future. All right. When Rachel saw that she wasn't having any children for Jacob, okay, so they're married. They're married. The problem though, she can't have kids. She became jealous of her sister, and she pleaded with Jacob. And you can see her. I can feel the drama off the photograph, can't you? And she's pleading with Jacob, and she says, "Give me children or I'll die!" Wow, Rachel, dramatic much? But it actually makes sense that she was so stressed out about this, because in this culture at that time, children were everything. They were actually a status symbol. They guaranteed that your family line would move on to the next generation, which was major back then. And now Rachel is having major issues in this childbearing issue. To make matters worse, her older sister Leah over here is cranking out son after son after son for Jacob. But the funny thing is that every time she named the son, she named them something that meant unhappiness, that reflected her unhappiness in being married to someone who didn't seem to love her back. I mean, The Bachelor can only dream to have this level of drama that was going on in this family. But you see what's happening here? All Jacob wanted was Rachel. He thought that marrying her would make him happy. She was beautiful and his dream girl. She would make everything right in his world, he thought. I mean, why else would he work for 14 years to be with her? That's love, right? All Rachel wanted was sons. She thought that would make her happy. That's why she resented her sister Leah when she had kids. And every son that Leah bore to Jacob was like a knife in the back to Rachel. And a reminder of what she couldn't provide for her husband. All Leah wanted was Jacob's love. She thought that would make her happy. She obviously got the feeling that Jacob didn't really love her, though. I mean, why else would a mom name her sons that reflect her loneliness? Leah was really trying to make it clear to Jacob, I need a little love and attention over here. And as you can see from our flannograph, Jacob isn't giving her the time of day. He's got eyes only for Rachel. This is about three people who wanted three different things. And oddly enough, all of those things were connected in some way to sex. Jacob wanted to have sex with the girl of his dreams. Rachel wanted sex to give her what it was giving her sister, children. And Leah wanted the person she was having sex and children with to love her. All of them wanted something connected to sex that they thought would make their lives better. Whether it would make them feel appreciated, valuable, or loved, sex and what they thought sex should give them became an idol in all three of these people's minds. But catch this. Sex didn't deliver any of the things they wanted. See, people have believed unhealthy and untrue things about sex forever, including thousands of years ago with this family. We aren't the first people to believe that it can make our lives complete, save our relationships, make our marriages perfect, or make us feel valuable and wanted. Sure, sex may momentarily solve some problems or help us escape some pain in our life, but it's never the cure we think it will be. Because sex wasn't made to be everything to us. Neither was marriage, love, children. Think about it. Leah figured this out after she married Jacob. Jacob figured this out once he married Rachel. And Rachel figured this out once she married Jacob. Sex didn't solve the problems they hoped it would solve. Why? Because it's not made for that. Maybe you found yourself believing some of the messages we talked about tonight. And hearing me argue against some of these fake news messages that you hear in our culture, maybe that seems kind of depressing to you. I mean, wait, Pastor Adam, sex isn't the ultimate thing in life? But here's why we're talking about this. Because when we say that sex is not everything, that's actually good news. Remember back to the beginning of the series, we talked about a psalm that David wrote. Check it out. I praise you because I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. And that means a lot of things. One of which is that you don't need anything or anyone to make you worthy, happy, or valuable. You have those things now. Nothing needs to be added to your life. You don't need sex to save a relationship today. And while married sex between a Christian couple is a good thing, it isn't what makes you worthy or valuable or important either. Remember our bottom line. You were made for more than sex. God hasn't made something that's far off in the distance as the main tool to give you worth and value. No, He's made you with worth and value this very moment. Here's what this truth means. If you've made a bad decision about sex, you are still worthy to be valued in God's sight. If you do sex to validate yourself, you are also still worthy. If you use sex to prop up a relationship, you're still worthy. And if you've not acted in sexual integrity, you are still worthy to be valued in God's sight. See, sex can't increase your value, and it can't decrease it either, because sex is not where your value comes from. Your value is intrinsic. Intrinsic is a big fancy word that simply means it comes naturally to you. Because God placed your value on you before you were even born. When He knit you together in your mother's womb, He placed intrinsic natural value on you that can never be changed. This is so important because when you really get this, you can stop chasing sex like it's the most important thing in life. You can stop treating it like a god and doing what it says. You can stop obsessing over what happens later and pay attention to life God made you to be living right now in middle and high school. On the other hand, if you've made wise choices when it comes to sex, you've committed to waiting until you're married, and you've kept your boundaries in place, well, having intrinsic value also means that even if you've done the right things, that doesn't make you more valuable or worthy. Because you were already made valuable and worthy by God. Nothing can add to that reality. As if you guys, here's what I want you guys to remember. God has a plan for you. And God has a plan for sex. And it's the best plan because it values both you and the other person. It sets you and them up for a better future. God knows what's best because He invented sex. And within His boundaries to protect us, He doesn't set these rules over us to oppress us. No, He wants you to have the most joyful, fulfilled life you can have. And when it's done the right way that God designed it to be, God's plan for sex is best because it honors you and the other person. It sets you up for a better future. In other words, God's plan for you is good. Because God is good. His plan for you is good because His heart for you is good. So as a practical next step, how do you apply this message to our life? Well, here it is. Here's my challenge to you. I want you to write down David's Psalm if you have something to write on. It's the one I talked about earlier, Psalm 139:14. And carry it with you or place it somewhere you can see it off. Or go ahead and pull it up, guys. Or you can just take your phone out right now. This is one time where you can actually take your phone out. Don't respond to any text that you got. Just pull your phone out, open your camera, zoom in, take a quick picture of that. And then save it under your favorites list. You guys know how to save photos on favorites? That's so that you can pull it up quickly. Go ahead quickly. Yeah, right now. Take a quick picture of it. Okay. And then once you take a picture of it, save it under your favorites so that you can easily access it. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. I want you to think about this psalm. Whenever you're tempted to believe that something else will give you the value or worth that you want, think about it when you're tempted to believe that something you've done this week has taken that value or worth away. Pull up your favorites and go, oh yeah, I need to read this. I need to remind myself this. I really messed up. I feel like my value is lowered this week. Pull that verse up as your next step. Read it. Meditate on it. Pray about it. This verse is a powerful reminder that you are valuable and worthy simply because God made you. And nothing, including sex, can make you worth more or less than you are right now in this very moment. As we wrap up this series, in closing, my hope for you is that you remember this truth that God made you. And He made you on purpose. You're not a mistake, regardless of what your mom or dad have told you. God made you on purpose, fearfully and wonderfully. And I hope you remember this truth. And you get to experience life knowing that you matter, no matter what. Have our leaders come to the front. Please pray with me. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Lord, thank you for the reminder from the story of this messed up family, Jacob's messed up family and his 2 wives, Lord, to remind us that sexual issues and drama, that's nothing new. We can learn a lesson from these patriarchs in the Bible, thousands of years later, that it's completely relevant to our lives today, that we shouldn't seek meaning and identity in life through sex, which is what the world tells us, that sex is everything. No, that's fake news. It's a lie that the culture is selling us. And so, Lord, whether we have students in here who think that because they have obeyed your plan for sex and they haven't fallen into any sexual sin yet in their life, they might think, oh, that gives me more value because I've done it. No, that's not true. You can't add more value to you. But on the flip side, to the students that, in this size room, we know there are students that have fallen into sexual sin already in their life. And maybe they're tempted to think, oh, I'm not worth as much because I did this. That's not true either, because they can't reduce their value in your sight. So Lord, I pray that you help us all in those moments where we think that we're doing better than we really are, or we think that we've messed up and we've taken value away from us, to remember this psalm and the truth that you created each and every one of us. You made each and every one of us on purpose, not by mistake. You made us fearfully and wonderfully. I pray that each and every one of these students moving forward this week and going forward in their life can experience the truth that their life matters, no matter what they do or don't do. To remember this truth that you have placed intrinsic value on each and every one of us before we were even born. That can never increase or decrease. Thank you for that. Please remind us we're tempted to think otherwise. Pray for these debriefs. I pray that you help the students open up and be real and honest in this final week of May about what they're really struggling with and what they're going through. I pray this in Jesus' name. All right, we're going to transition to D groups. If you are a middle school girl, you guys are going to be with these 2 ladies right here. This is Olivia and this is Emma. So middle school girls, you're going to go with them. If you are a high school girl, you're going to go with either Donna or Karen. And if you are a middle school guy, you're going to go with Ben and Malachi. And if you're a high school guy, none of our high school guy leaders are here tonight, so you're going to be with me. High school guys with me. All right, you guys are dismissed to groups.
Mama Donna! Hey!